Yeah, and it's a very exciting opportunity and timing, I would say, for our partners, right? So we have seen the deal sizes growing significantly with whole AI infusion. We have seen the sales cycles becoming shorter with AWS Marketplace and the feature launches that you have done to help our partners to take their offerings faster to the market. We have seen the enterprise customers now making bigger commitments when they do these deals through Marketplace. And then, most importantly, we have seen much stronger customer retention, which is what our partners love and care about the most.
Hey everyone, welcome back to another episode of Inside Partnering. Gosh, I'm so excited to be joined today by Vineet Anshuman. Vineet, welcome.
Thanks so much, Chip. So great to see you again and super excited to be here.
Yeah. So, by way of introduction for Vineet, your role, your title is actually a long one, but it's focused on security and AI for AWS, worldwide leader for partners in AWS Marketplace. Did I capture that
Yep, my
right?
my focus is mostly Americas, but yeah, I do work with partners across the globe for sure. You got it spot on, Chip, and I know it's pretty heavy, but it's aligned with the market momentum right now with everything touching AI and security. It's super interesting place to be in.
Absolutely. It's the hot place to be for sure. So Vineet has 3 years with AWS, background with persistent systems, Tata Communications for 10 years, Vodafone, Infosys, a number of technology leaders. And currently you're actually going through a program with Carnegie Mellon
Yep.
around AI. So really interesting background also with Stanford Business School around AI. So you've been in the AI space for quite a bit, Vineet.
Yeah, no, I think it's kind of good coincidence. I didn't definitely plan it that way. I've touched multiple elements of infrastructure, which are ultimately, I would say, supporting all the momentum around AI build, right? I mean, if you think about AI, there's a lot of buzz about what is being built, but it's also about how infrastructure is ready in terms of being able to make that reality possible. So I'm super proud to be part of my infrastructure domain over many decades now. And it's evolved over the period of time. And thankfully, I've been there in the right place at the right time, which I think makes me talk to great people like you.
Well, it's exciting. It's a hot topic for AWS partners, whether they're AWS partners or thinking about becoming an AWS partner around the AI topic and agentic and just really there's so much going on. AWS is doing so many things. So that's what we're going to dive into. I think Vineet, maybe start with just talk a little bit about what you and your team are up to today at AWS with partners.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think my team is responsible for partnership motion respect to security partners. And these are top tiered partners of AWS, where we work very closely with them in terms of not only providing, I would say, state of art, next gen, modernized security offerings, but also working very closely with them in terms of defining what would be the next relevant solution in terms of security, right? And when you talk about security, AI is a big component in terms of how we see security. I mean, we call it as a three legs tool: AI for security for AI, and then of course, how do you have security from threats coming from AI? So it's very core to our offering. It's a day zero thing for us, and we are super excited that we get to work with very, I would say, strategic partners and impact such a massive adoption of technology through interworking and integration work that we do with them. So we are responsible for ultimately co-build, co-sell, and then co-market with all these
Mm-hmm.
ISVs that we work very closely with.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And there's so much opportunity there on all three of those fronts. So let's dive into it. I think you've talked, Vineet, about some really interesting statistics that talk about the market opportunity. I mean, I think there's so much investment in AI today, agentic, but it's because there's a huge opportunity out there. What are you seeing? What are you hearing about the market for ISVs in this space?
Yeah, I think if you see from the evolution standpoint, 2023, we have seen, respect to AI especially, we have seen ISVs doing a lot of POCs. There were countless POCs that we were working very closely with a lot of our ISVs on. 24 became, I would say, a year where we started seeing a lot of production based deployments happening. where partners were embedding their core product offerings, leveraging Gen AI and a lot of these offerings, of course, infrastructure from AWS. And as we enter into 2025, we have also entered an era which is called as Agentic AI, right? As you're aware, and we're seeing ISVs creating autonomous AI capabilities with their software solutions, right? So what is fascinating is like how soon things have picked up. It seems like all this happened as of yesterday, while technology is still evolving. But
Isn't it so fast?
insane. It's been
Every month or 6 weeks, it's like completely changed.
totally. So in terms of the opportunity size, we're talking of 280 billion plus kind of opportunity for security partners. And what makes it interesting is 95% of the opportunity will flow through partnership. And that's the reason we are so bullish in terms of what we're seeing with our partners. We're seeing a massive paradigm shift of how partners are embedding AI as part of their core platform, right? So all this work put together are impacting, I would say, customer engagement, are creating expanded market opportunities, and then really, I would say, transforming the entire cloud revolution in its own way.
95%, that's incredible.
Yes, it's that's the reality. I can throw some more stats for you if you just want to know how much agentic AI has picked up and how some of the market analysts see them. For example, Gartner says that one third of the enterprise software applications will include agentic AI by 2028. Right. So it kind of there's another stat which says that it's 15% of day-to-day work decisions will be made autonomously through AI agents.
Mm.
So it's just not about what's going to happen, but it's just happening right now, right here in front of us.
So, talking about partners, I think let's stick with that theme of co-build, co-market, co-sell,
Yep.
and talk a little bit about the co-build side. AWS has some incredible core technologies and resources for partners. Talk a little bit about what those are and how partners can take advantage.
Yeah, no, absolutely. I think we have entire stack from infrastructure to Bedrock, where you can access multiple LLMs. We have applications and agents built on top of that. We recently announced Agentic Marketplace, and I would love to talk more about it. And then, of course, applications built on top of that, right? So, in essence, from partner standpoint, we have everything that you need. We got ready to use applications. Think of Amazon Q. We just launched Kiro Transform, and then some of these capabilities with respect to agentic AI and tools. Bedrock, I think, has been in the market long enough for people to know about it pretty decently. It gives you flexible deployment models and access to your model of choice, which I've seen something our partners love to work on. And
Mm-hmm.
then we came up with a newly launched agent core capability to basically help with the agentic AI kind of framework to build and scale agentic AI, which again, would love to talk more about it. So, and then of course, at the bottom of the layer, we've got infrastructure, we've got Amazon SageMaker, and then we've got our own compute with our chipset inference and then GPUs around that. So we spoke about a layer basically from infrastructure to agentic AI, including our marketplace story, and then of course the applications like Amazon Q and everything related to, I would say, adoption from the end customer standpoint.
So, a lot of build going on. reInvent is coming up. It's going to be here fast. I'm sure it's always packed with
Yep.
partners showing what they built on AWS. Very exciting.
Yeah, and it's a very exciting opportunity and timing, I would say, for our partners, right? So we have seen the deal sizes growing significantly with whole AI infusion. We have seen the sales cycles becoming shorter with AWS Marketplace and the feature launches that you have done to help our partners to take their offerings faster to the market. We have seen the enterprise customers now making bigger commitments when they do these deals through Marketplace. And then, most importantly, we have seen much stronger customer retention, which is what our partners love and care about the most.
Yeah.
So, in a sense, AWS offers this immense value for our partners through Marketplace and a lot of agentic AI and overall AI ecosystem infrastructure, including which has been super crucial factor in terms of helping them win more and more customers, but at the same time helping retain more customers, expand their revenue overall. So that's a big part of what we do is co-sell within AWS.
Yeah. So let's talk about Marketplace. I think there's so many benefits for partners to be working with Marketplace.
Yep.
When their solutions are transactable, it unlocks a lot of incentives. It unlocks the opportunity to leverage pre-commit dollars and things like that. But earlier this year, Matt made the announcement about the Agentic Marketplace. I think initially we're like right off the bat, 900 partners were co-announcing. Tell us a little bit about that, where that stands today. And I know there's tremendous growth.
Yeah, no, I think from the agentic AI marketplace perspective, it's been a massive interest area ever since and I would say pre-launched it in New York Summit this year. So that's been, I would say, very interesting to our partners. What we have seen, a lot of partners actually from the from the agentic AI marketplace perspective, I think it gives ability for our partners to basically host their agents on the marketplace just the way they have been hosting their applications, and makes it super seamless in terms of being able to offer these agentic capabilities through the marketplace now. And the best part is we have not just left it there. I think there are elements which are tied to this in terms of making it easier to build and scale the agents. And we did announce a capability called Agent Core, which is actually at the heart of it in terms of making it even more impactful for our partners to work upon. So happy to expand more on Agent Core if that's an area I want to go into. I mean, we have seen a lot of interest around that because it's one thing to build agent, but when you think about scaling motions, that's where real set of challenges kind of come in. And with this Agent Core framework, we basically help to kind of not only simplify that, but also give you that flexibility and framework to build your agent seamlessly.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about that. I think that is really interesting. And so what are the components of Agent Core?
Yeah, so if you think of Agent Core, basically what we are looking at is, so let's kind of basically break it down in terms of why this Agent Core was launched, right? So basically, Agent Core helps you to create AI agents that can understand the user request, right? So it breaks down a very complex task into logical, actionable steps, and then enable agents to use tools and APIs to complete those complex tasks, right? So that's the whole premise and purpose on which we launched it, right? And then the idea there was, I think, basically to have your task and planning execution to be done through a framework. It gives you seamless ability to go and integrate with foundational models because it's part of the Bedrock ecosystem. It gives you access to tools and APIs. And then it gives you structured decision making, which is very important for a complex agentic ecosystem. Right. So that's the premise and the base foundation on which this was created. And I think this is basically back to our culture of working backwards and customer obsessiveness. So we heard from our customers in terms of what they would need to make their agentic offering successful. And we kind of curated pieces of that to basically give them ability to go and be able to launch some of these services seamlessly and do it in a more simpler way rather than having to waste engineering cycles on simplifying this stuff on themselves.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So ultimately, the benefits that we deliver is one, we simplify agent development. Right. We secondly provide a consistent reasoning framework, which is something which the partners love because this is one thing this we have seen a lot of partners, especially in the early cycle, struggling with a lot. So that's an area where it really kind of helps them. It enables them to complex really complex task, which is again the scaling factor which I've been talking about. And then of course it reduces the development and the complexity for whole agentic AI ecosystem, right? So that's the whole premise. So a lot of partners again have been talking about it, and if you think about it, Chip, I think different partners have different use cases. We have seen use cases around customer service automation. We have seen use cases around data analysis and reporting. We have seen use cases around task automation, business workflow processes automation. So we have seen, depending on the partner use case, the adoption flavor is changing, but again, using the same framework that we offer across as part of the Agent Core Bedrock infrastructure.
So that's terrific. And I can see where that not only simplifies the process for partners through their development process, but it also gives customers a roadmap and an expectation about how things are going to work. I would think it also then helps with interoperability between solutions as well.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally. I mean, that's a big part of what value the partners see being created from this, because the idea is that we basically help you to build an agent from the start and then get it to production scale without having to spend too many cycles on breaking down the complexities.
Right.
So if you think of potential idea where you want to walk through some of these scenarios, I think we've seen typically partners going through the POC cycle and then they work through the path of production, which could be challenging in terms of breaking down the performance parameter, understanding scalability. We have not even touched upon security. I think that's a big area I want to talk about. Then there's a governance elements which is tied to it before you create anything meaningful as a business value with respect to AI production agents. So that's the chasm which I'm talking about, is where Agent Core comes in and then simplifies some of these offerings, right? So the idea is, again, one, time to value, like how do you help them create this seamlessly in the timely manner. Second, flexibility that you get to play around with the agents and the model of your choice. And then of
Mm-hmm.
course the whole trusted environment that we create with our security and scalable, reliable infrastructure that organizations can trust.
Where are you seeing because you're working with ISVs every day, and so many have just really flocked to AWS around some of these capabilities, these core capabilities that you've deployed. Where are you seeing some of the interesting solutions? Where's the heat? Does it tend to be more around sort of horizontal solutions? Are you seeing a lot of vertical solutions coming to life? Both, all the above, or what are you seeing?
That's a great question, Chip, because that's something I really wanted to touch upon. Because one of the things that when we look across our key industry verticals, we see an incredible range of complex challenges which our partners have to undergo to make their agentic offering successful.
Mm-hmm.
And I think that's where the combination of agents on the marketplace and an agent core could be really transformative across different industry segments, right? I'll give you some examples here, right? So when you think of our agentic use cases across industries, and we have, I think last couple of years, we have been heavily focused on industry verticals, right? So you break it down on based on the industry verticals that you see. It could maybe, for example, for automotive, it could be AI powered development and validation, right? It could be a supply chain optimization, right? That could be some of the use cases. For BFSI as a vertical, it could be, say, for example, investment research assistant kind of agent, or it could be a customer experience agent who could possibly help you solve tons of your customer queries and enhance customer experience. For manufacturing, it could be how do you do your day-to-day maintenance, having that maintenance management, or maybe some kind of research and discovery work, right, in terms of your R&D, which I think is a big effort which goes in manufacturing. Same with healthcare, where we are seeing massive traction. It could, again, we can talk about clinical workflow automation, we can talk about patient and member engagement, which again has picked up a lot of interest. And then media entertainment is another area where I think we have seen a lot of multi-agent collaboration work, where you need to understand agents who can understand a lot of videos and multiple agents can collaborate with each other. We have seen campaign optimizations happening. We have seen advertising based on the sales data. So a lot of it that we're talking
You
about.
just covered everything, Vineet.
Yeah, I mean, that's the gamut, right? I mean, because that's the scale at which we operate, and we work with partners with all
Yeah.
different flavors. And I mean, when we talk of ISVs, right, we have ISVs now working with us across industry verticals as part of our industry sprint initiative, because we bring those specific sprints to drive adoption across different verticals. And then what we do is for example, pick an ISV, understand their core offering, create a differentiated layer on a certain vertical for that offering, and then power it with AWS ecosystem and field team to really make the impact. So the intent there is to, one, make it powerful, second, make it differentiated for a given vertical, and third, to really make sure that we have customers confidence, because every industry vertical comes with its own nuance.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely. Well, its own nuances, and you also need to be really deep into those use cases to really understand how it's. I mean, you need industry experts that are really going to be able to kind of go toe to toe with customers to be able to identify the pain, where the opportunity is going to, how the solution is going to help, where the challenges could be, and all those things.
Yeah, no, absolutely, absolutely. And I think it's a good segue for us, Chip, to also talk about, I would say, security and how it is one of the key pillars for
Yeah, I'd
agentic,
love to talk about that.
right? Because I know we met in the partner forum where we had 100 plus security ISVs talking through the entire day on how they are innovating with AWS.
What a
And
great event.
yeah, thanks
Yeah.
so much. Thank you so
Yeah.
much. Yeah, super proud to deliver that with the team. It was a very intense day, but it came out pretty well. And I think we heard a lot from good customers and partners who were part of the event on how much they loved the theme and the fact that it is right relevant to areas where they are innovating and making impact with respect to their end customers.
Yeah. Yeah. So let's talk about that. What I think security is something that's top of mind for everybody.
Yeah.
Because AI there's so many potential challenges, right? It kind of gets into a lot of different things. It's a little bit of a black box. People are not quite sure how it all works.
Yeah, totally.
Even the people that built it are not quite sure. So, talk a little bit about security in AI.
No, totally. I think would love to spend a little time on that. Also, with respect to agentic AI, like how pivotal security is for that. So, if you really see, security is very important, and it's a foundation of a lot of successful agentic AI deployment, right? So if you, for example, if you consider responsible AI development, it's basically the ethical compass on which every team member, developer, product manager really need to understand the capability and social implications to really make solutions which are ethically safe and responsible. And we are big on that. We're really big on that because I think people talk about dangers of AI and everything around that. So we want to make sure that everything that we are building is ethical and is responsible from our perspective. And that also means that we conduct thorough risk assessment of each application and really measure the consequences and impact. And that's how we drive responsible AI kind of architecture, right? So that's the foundational element for any security story. The next thing is, I think, even before AI became a thing, with respect to, I would say, security, we had a shared responsibility model, which I think we redefined it right now for AI as well now. So there's a shared responsibility model for AI security now. And basically, what this offers is like a security architecture which can basically be a protective shield for AI systems. So think of you building a fortress, for example, strong walls for data protection. You're building vigilant guards for authentication, early warning systems like threat detection, and unlike traditional way of doing security, we're talking security which is much more dynamic, adapting to new threats and evolving threat vectors. That's the at the heart of how we have built this shared responsibility model there. And our partners love it because one, I still remember, almost feels like many years now, but it's almost a year back when we were working with some of our very strategic security partners and invited them in Palo Alto in a closed room workshop to really understand in terms of what their pain points are, right? And it kind of became very apparent very quickly that they were looking for a lot of guidance around how AWS would recommend the security in the context of AI, right? And we very quickly, our teams got together, the Tiger teams behind the scenes worked very hard to come up with this whole model, which I've heard from many partners is super, super compelling because it gives them a governance framework, more like an operating manual, and makes it super simple in terms of simplifying security, right? We don't want to really reinvent things for our partners, but I think intent is how they can leverage the old learnings and apply it in the context of AI. And having a framework like that really helps them to break it down and easy to adopt from interworking with the cloud provider. So that's basically covers the governance piece, which again is very important from any security discussion perspective. And then, what I would also say is, so we covered threat governance, how do you scale security, and then the last piece is around trust building mechanism, right? One of the things which we have seen super important for security to stand out is to keep to make security seamless, right? How do you make security seamless and transparent so that there's a end customer confidence on it? So that's the other element where I would say we spend a lot of cycles so that it doesn't seem like an additional effort, or I would say a bottleneck in terms of your own innovation and development timelines. You make it as seamless as possible so that it's part of your normal software development cycle and not an additional burden on the customers. So that's how I would define 4 or 5 things in terms of how we have simplified security, governance, scalability, responsible AI, secure architecture, governance framework, scalability in terms of adoption and making the operation simpler, and then keeping it transparent, seamless, and easy for adoption.
And that applies both to partners and also customers. I love that you've been pulling partners and customers together to build these frameworks and reference architectures and everything around security to, again, really make it more standardized and streamlined and simplified and all those things.
Yeah, I think the way we look at it, Chip, is how do you make security not just a protective measure, but a business enabler, right? And that's where looking ahead, we want organizations to thrive in AI era with most advanced algorithms, data sets that they have, without having to worry too much on, how it's going to be secured. That's the philosophy.
Yeah. Well, I think AWS has always been very partner friendly, and it's continuing in that tradition.
Yeah, I mean, we love to always work backwards from our partners and customers' point, and we innovate right at the place where we can create value and make it more easy and compelling and impactful for them. And it's a journey, Chip, right? And it's great to be part of this amazing momentum, but it's also very interesting and challenging because every single day you have something which comes as something new, which you need to, I would say, break it down and make it simpler, and then apply it to day-to-day life, and then also share the learnings back with customers and partners. So that's the cycle.
That's amazing. Well, Vineet, I really appreciate you taking some time today and sharing your thoughts. There's so many things going on. You have a big job managing all these partners, you and your team. But gosh, I really appreciate it. It's so interesting, the things that AWS is doing, and right in the mix, in the thick of this, amazing moment that we have with AI and with Agentic and all that. So, and it's very deployable, right? It's just put it in the cloud and go forward.
I mean, the way I would summarize this is back to where we started from, Chip, right? I would say we love working backwards, and we want to provide our customers and partners the best place to build the most useful AI agents, empowering organizations to deploy reliably and also secure agents at scale, which helps them expand their business. That's at the heart of everything that we do every single day for our partners.
Yeah. Awesome. Fantastic. Well, thank you again, Vineet, for taking the time and sharing some time with us today. And thank you all as well for joining another episode of Inside Partnering. And I think with that, we'll say see you next time. Thanks, everybody. And thank you, Vineet.
Thanks, Chip.